Hi, everyone, and welcome to this exciting edition of the Holidays to Switzerland podcast. So many of you will know that we normally record audio podcasts, which are found on all the major podcast platforms. But today we're having a very exciting podcast live from one of Switzerland's most famous mountaintops. And I'm going to hand it over to my special guest, Manuela, to tell us where we are.
Yes, hello. Good morning from Switzerland. So I'm standing basically above Lucerne and above Lake Lucerne, which you can see behind me. More precisely, I'm on top of Mount Pilatus at over 2,000 meters above sea level. It's Lucerne's local mountain. So we're actually located right next to the city of Lucerne. If we look over here, you should be able to see the city of Lucerne and also the flat areas of Switzerland. And as I said before, Lake Lucerne. Mount Pilatus has been a very popular mountain for tourists for a very long time. So we have built the first hotel on top of Pilatus already in 1860 to receive tourists from all over the world. And that was actually even before the cable car and the mountain railway was built. So they carried up everything by themselves or on donkeys. And when Queen Victoria visited our hotels in 1868, she also came up here on a donkey. Imagine that. Must have been a very bumpy ride.
So you're at one of the viewing points there, is that right?
Yes, that's right. I'm at the viewpoint Oberhaupt. You can see the top just behind me. So that's the closest viewpoint to the panorama terrace, which we can see right down here. So when you arrive at Mount Pilatus, you're arriving at the panorama terrace from where you already have really great views. And from the panorama terrace, it's just a 5 minutes walk up the stairs to the Oberhaupt, where I'm right now. And in summertime, there is a second viewpoint. We can see it opposite. It's Esel on the other side of the panorama terrace. And from there, you have the greatest sunrise moments from top of Pilatus and also the greatest lake view during summertime. In winter, you cannot go up because it's too snow covered on the route.
Okay, and we can still see a little bit of snow there at the moment. Typically, how long does the snow last? If people are coming in June or July, would they expect to see snow on the summit there?
So in summer, there won't be any snow, but in summer we have another highlight, which we'll talk about later, the cogwheel train. So the snow, usually you would see it from December, sometimes already November, until April on the top, sometimes even until May. It really depends on the season, on the year. Last year we had lots of snow at the end of April, after it's been really warm in March. Right now is quite a warm period, so the snow has been melting. But last weekend, for example, we got some fresh snow. So usually you should be able to see between December and April, I would say.
Okay. And I guess you can still see snow on all those very high mountain peaks that are in the background there.
Exactly. So if we look behind me, you actually have absolutely gorgeous views of the Alps. As Pilatus is one of the first mountains of the Alps, you have over 73 alpine peaks in front of you, and you have really great panorama.
Magnificent. Okay, so maybe you'd like to walk us down to that panorama terrace and show us a few of the things that you can see and do on an excursion to Mount Pilatus.
Absolutely. Let me go down there. Just a few minutes and I'll be down there. And maybe in the meantime, if you have a look at the terrace from up here, not sure if you can see it. you should be able to see a dragon on the terrace. Can you see that?
Yes, yes.
Good. So why is there a dragon, you might wonder? And that's actually because Pilatus is also known as the Dragon Mountain. And there's a reason for that, because people from Lucerne, we used to believe that dragons are living on Pilatus. And we were actually quite afraid of the mountain for quite a long time. It was even forbidden to come up the mountain because we thought we would disturb the dragons and something bad could happen. But it's actually all friendly dragons. So all the stories that we have about the dragons is where dragons are helping people or they have healing powers. So you shouldn't be afraid of dragons when you're coming up Pilatus. But at the same time, you can learn some great stories about dragons and the legends of the Pilatus dragons when you're up here.
Oh, well, that's good to know that they're all friendly.
Yes, definitely. And down the panorama terrace downstairs, we also have the Dragon World, where you can actually learn about these dragon legends in quite a fun and interactive way. There's also some games to play, a dragon to fly in a video game, so it's quite fun. So I'm making my way down the panorama terrace, and behind me you can see a building, which is the Pilatus Hotel. So I'm down here at the terrace now. At the moment it's quite quiet up here because I came up with one of the first cable cars and there's not many people here at the moment. Actually, in winter there's not as many people as in summer. So if you want to have a more quiet experience and see snow, winter is actually the perfect time to come because we are not a skiing mountain. So that means we're not as busy as the skiing mountains, and it's the perfect place to experience the snow without the crowds. I think now you can see the Pilatus Hotel behind me. So another great way of experiencing Pilatus Mountain is by staying overnight on top of Pilatus. And that's possible either in the 4-star Hotel Pilatus Culm, which you can see behind me, or in the 3-star Hotel Bellevue, which is the round building on the other side of the terrace, now behind me. And in total, we only have 45 rooms. So that means around 100 guests on top of the mountain maximum overnight. No cable car between 6 p.m. and 9 a.m. in the morning. So that means only the hotel guests are on the mountain during that time. It's a very exclusive and quite unique overnight stay on top of a mountain, including amazing sunsets, sunrises. And one thing you should definitely do when you're staying overnight is coming out here to the panorama terrace during the night. On one side, you can see the city lights of Lucerne. And if you look up in the sky, you can see millions of stars. Because there's no light pollution on top of the mountain, you can see many more stars than from the city.
Mm. Yes, I've been lucky enough to stay overnight, as you know. We stayed at Pilatus Culm Hotel, and yeah, those views were spectacular. And the sunset and the sunrise, it's something that is, I think, a once in a lifetime experience. Everyone should do it. It was just amazing.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. But of course, if you're not into staying on top of the mountain, or if you don't have the time to spend one night on the mountain, there's also lots of things to do for the day visitors. So on one side, you can enjoy the views from the viewpoints that we showed before. You can learn about the dragon legends. You can also have lunch on top of the mountain. We have several different restaurants. Or if you're coming in summertime, you could also do some hikes. So I have 2 hikes that I would like to point out to you. One is the Dragon Trail. So maybe you could even find a dragon there. But if you don't, you will definitely find some nice views. And let me show you, the Dragon Trail just starts in the Panorama Gallery. And then it goes through some caves, through the mountain. And you can see the holes. That's the lookout point of the Dragon Trail. So you can see in different directions. And you walk basically first through the mountain, and then you have 2 different options. You either do the short loop, which will bring you back to Pilatus Culm Hotel in about 15 minutes, or in summertime you can do the long loop, and with the long loop you will end at Oberhaupt, just 5 minutes above the panorama terrace, and the long loop would take you about 30 minutes to complete in a very leisurely pace with lots of photo stops. And a second hike would be the Flower Trail, going all the way to Tomlieshorn. So on that hike, you start right behind the Pilatus Culm Hotel. And from there, you will hike to the highest peak of Pilatus, to Tomlieshorn. One way takes about 45 minutes, so it's a bit a longer hike, takes about 1.5 hours in total. It's quite an easy walk. If you can walk for 1.5 hours, it's pretty flat because you're already on top of the mountain. And you can see over 200 different alpine flowers, which is quite impressive because we're a very rocky mountain, and to see flowers growing out of the rock, basically, super impressive. And what you could also see is some ibexes, because we have around 100 ibexes living on Pilatus. And the Tomlieshorn hike is actually a great place to spot some of them.
Fantastic. That's something that you don't see very often, and you see them at quite close range too, don't you? It's not like they're a long way off in the distance.
Yeah, sometimes even you can see them from the panorama terrace where I'm standing right now, or you could even see them from the panorama gallery. Let me go inside there and show you the panorama gallery. So it's actually just 1 floor below me. So below the panorama terrace, we have the panorama gallery. And there we also have the Ibex bar. And it's called Ibex bar because when you're sitting in the bar, you can see ibexes sometimes just in front of you in the window. So I'm coming down to the panorama gallery. Here you will also find some souvenir stores, even a watch store if you want to do some shopping on top of the mountain, or our nice Ibex bar where you can have a nice hot drink in winter, some glühwein maybe, some sandwiches, and sit down at one of our tables and enjoy the view while relaxing.
And when I was there on one visit, there was some entertainment in that area too.
Yeah, actually quite often you will find some musicians on top of Pilatus. We have lots of musicians coming up with their alp horn or some other instruments, and you can enjoy their views. So I'm just doing a short loop, and behind me now, you should be able to see the model of the cogwheel railway. So I just mentioned about the cogwheel train briefly when we were on the terrace. I was promising you another highlight in summer. Instead of the snow, what you can find on Pilatus in summer is the steepest cogwheel railway in the whole world. So definitely also a great reason to visit Pilatus in summertime. The cogwheel railway runs from mid-May to mid-November. So this year it will start 12 May 2025 until 16 November 2025. So it's still closed right now because there is too much snow on the tracks. As it's so steep, it has up to 48% slopes. So it's too steep to operate with all the snow on the tracks. But I can show you on the other side of the panorama terrace where the cogwheel train would come up in summertime. So if you look outside the window, I hope you can see it.
Yes, I can see the track there.
Okay, perfect.
And that train's been running for a long time, hasn't it? But the train itself is actually very new.
Exactly. So the train has opened 1889. So it's still the original tracks running. It's very impressive, but we have replaced the trains in 2023. So the model that I showed you before, it's from the new trains. And these are really great panoramic trains with windows from top to bottom, glass on the ceiling. So you have really amazing views already on the way up the mountain. And it takes half an hour to reach the top of the mountain from Alpnachstadt. That's where the cogwheel train departs. And you can actually experience the cogwheel train on a nice round trip, which is called the Golden Round Trip. So I've just passed the station of the cogwheel train, which is behind me, and I will show you the map. Here we go. So you should be able to see the map of the whole Pilatus range. And we have Lucerne down here. And from Lucerne, you can take the boat cruise from the city of Lucerne all the way to Alpnachstadt. And from Alpnachstadt, you can connect to the steepest cogwheel railway in the world, going up to the top of Pilatus Mountain. And to complete the route on the other side, you can take the cable car down to Kriens. And from Kriens, it's just a 12-minute bus ride back to the city of Lucerne. And to take the cable car, super easy. We just turn around and the cable car will be just behind me. So the stations are right next to each other. On one side, we have the cogwheel train station. On the other side, we have the cable car station.
Okay. Now, I guess that the cogwheel train takes fewer passengers than the cable car because the cable car operates a bit more frequently. So, should people make a reservation for the cogwheel train?
Yes, that's a very good point because the cogwheel train runs every 35 minutes on a fixed train schedule. And it has 188 passengers per train that it can take up every 35 minutes, while the cable car is running all the time. And the cogwheel train is actually very popular, especially since we have the new trains, it's become even more popular. So I highly recommend to make a reservation. It's not numbered seats, but you'll have a guaranteed seat, and it's all seated, so nobody is standing. So we only take as many people on the train as we have space for seating on the train. And the reservation can very easily be made online. It's 5 Swiss francs per person for the reservation, and it means you have a separate entrance. You don't have to queue. So I think it's really worth the 5 Swiss francs for the reservation. And you can also make the reservation quite spontaneously, so you don't have to reserve your seat months in advance. You could even do it the day before or at the day of the Pilatus excursion. It can sometimes happen that some trains may be booked out, but usually it's not that you don't find any space on a particular day.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. Ah, now I'm excited because I think you're going to take us on a pretty special ride now. What have you got in store for us next?
Yes, so we're going to take the dragon ride, the cable car down to the middle station. So the dragon ride runs every 15 minutes, and I think we should just be in time to catch the next one.
Wonderful. And how long has the Dragon Ride been in operation? Because it's a very modern cable car or gondola also.
Yes, so it has been in operation for a very long time, but the cable car that we're taking today has been in operation since 2015. So it's also been modernized recently, and we'll have some great views on the way. Then I'll just go down to the station. And then we're ready to go down to Eck, our middle station. So if we look out of the window here, we should be able to see where we're going.
Wow, they're great views. And you said this the cable cars operate every 15 minutes, so there's hardly ever any need to wait for if people are just showing up for an excursion, there'll be a cable car in the next 15 minutes.
Yes, so it's running every 15 minutes. Of course, if we have more people queuing, then the cable car would run non-stop. Non-stop means every 5 minutes, because that's how long it takes from Pilatus Kulm to Eck. And this cable car here, the Dragon Ride, is basically one big cable car at the top and one big cable car at the bottom. And each cable car has capacity for 55 persons for this 5-minute ride.
Okay. So they're going simultaneously. One's going up and one's going down at the same time.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, good. So while we're waiting for the cable car ride to start, maybe we could talk a little bit about tickets and if people can get any discounts if they have one of the rail passes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you have different options for tickets. You can either buy the Pilatus Excursion ticket, which is a return ticket and costs you 80 Swiss francs in summer or 64 Swiss francs in winter for the full price. And if you have a Swiss travel pass or a half fare card or a Eurail or Interrail pass, you'll get discounts. So with the Swiss travel pass, for example, you have a 50% discount. So that means the return journey is only 40 Swiss francs with the Swiss travel pass. And then you also have the option to purchase a golden round trip ticket, which includes the boat cruise from Lucerne to Alpnachstad, the cogwheel railway, the cable car, and the bus back to Lucerne as well. So then you have the whole round trip ticket. If you have the Swiss travel pass, obviously you don't need that because you already have the boat and the bus included in your Swiss travel pass. So if you have the Swiss travel pass, the whole golden round trip only costs you 40 Swiss francs.
That's fantastic. And for people that do have the Swiss Travel Pass and they want to buy or pay the additional amount online in advance, can they do that? Is there an option on your website for them to buy it the tickets with that at the discounted rate?
Yes, absolutely. They can buy the tickets on our website, www.pilatus.ch, and they find a ticket shop with all the different ticket options, also the discounted Swiss travel pass rates.
Great. So on the day, they will just need to show their Swiss Travel Pass and the tickets that they've purchased in order to board the cable car or the train.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. So we're ready to board the cable car and go down to the middle station.
Great. And how many passengers does this cable car hold at each time?
So the cable car holds 55 passengers in total. This morning we're only 4 people, so lots of space to enjoy the view. And you can see we have huge windows, so it's really great to see in all different directions once we leave the station. Doors are closing, so just about to depart.
So does the cable car operate all year round, or is there some period when it's closed for the annual maintenance?
So the cable car operates all year round. There is just one maintenance period in autumn. So this year in 2025, that would be from 20 October to 7 November. That's when the cable car is closed for maintenance. But at the same time, the cogwheel train is still operating. So during that time, you can go up Pilatus by cogwheel train from Altnachstadt. And then there is a very short maintenance period in April, where it's only closed for 2 days. So that's the only 2 days of the year where you cannot reach Pilatus. Okay, so we're on our way down now. So on one side we have the lake, and right behind me we're just leaving a mountain. And over here, on the other side, you should be able to see the chapel on the cliff. So we've just passed the halfway mark, and we're on the way down to Frackmendek.
Now, because we won't be doing the entire cable car ride with you all the way down to Kriens, maybe you could tell our listeners a little bit about that ride, because it's in 3 sections, isn't it?
Yes, so it's 2 different cable cars. So we are in the upper section right now, between Pilatuskulm and Frackmendek. And from the middle station Frackmendek, there is the panorama gondola going down to Kriens. And on the way, you also have Kriensek. It's after 15 minutes, so halfway. You could get off there. There is a big playground, so it's a great paradise for families with small children. You'll have a huge playground, lots of barbecue areas, some easy flat hikes through the forest, but also with great views of the city of Lucerne and of Mount Pilatus. Or you can just remain seated there. You don't have to get off in the station. You can remain seated and go all the way down to Kriens, which takes about half an hour from the middle station. And in the middle station, Frackmendek, we'll arrive in about a minute. There, I definitely recommend you to make a stop if you like to do some of our adventure activities, because Frackmendek is our adventure playground. So you'll find there a big rope park for adult kids from the age of 4. We have a special rope park for the smaller kids from 4 to 7 years old, and from the age 8 they can already go on the big rope park, where we have 10 different courses, from easy ones to very difficult ones, which are also quite challenging for adults. I'm just going out of the station so I can actually show you these activities that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm. And are they only open during the summer?
Yes, so they open in April. This year it will be on 19th April when the activities open. And they are open until the maintenance period of the cable car, so until 19 October. And then there is also a super long toboggan run, actually the longest one in Switzerland, 1.3 kilometers long. It's just a 10 minutes walk from the station. And from there, you will go down on the summer toboggan run, which is also great fun and also opens in April, already on 5th April this year.
Okay. And for those people wondering about if I toboggan down the hill, how am I going to get back up? Well, there's actually a pulley that pulls you back up the hill, isn't there? So you don't actually have to walk back and drag your toboggan.
Exactly. Luckily, there's a lift pulling you back up, so you don't have to walk back up.
You've thought of everything there.
Yeah. And the great thing is, on the way up, when you're pulled up, you can actually also enjoy the views of the lake. You have really great panoramas there as well. So I'm just walking outside the station now. Um, so next to me, you can see the station for the panorama gondola. So if you're directly connecting to the next cable car, it's just a few steps away. But if you're going outside, you'll have really great activities just behind me. So you'll have the parts of the rope park that you can see behind me. Uh, this one is a balancing line. So on the rope park, it's really all about balancing, climbing, jumping, test your different skills. Or if you like something more easygoing, not that adventurous like the rope park, I recommend you to go on the Dragon Glider. So the Dragon Glider is a fly line where you can really easily glide down for a couple of minutes through the forest, through the rope park, and then you'll end up at the Dragon Alp, which is a really nice barbecue area. You can have your own barbecue there. Our staff usually prepares the fire, so it's a really local Swiss experience. We love to have barbecues in the mountains, but you don't have to carry your own wood. Our staff prepares everything, and you even don't have to bring your own sausage because we have a shop there, so you can buy the sausage there, put it on the barbecue, and enjoy the nice mountain barbecue. Definitely something different than the beach barbecues that you have in Australia.
Yeah, that's right. And the beautiful mountain barbecue with those fantastic mountain and lake views.
Exactly. And if you want a bit more adventure than just the barbecue, we also have the option to sleep in a tree tent in the rope park. So we have tents spanned between the trees. They're about 1.5 meters above ground. So you can sleep in the forest in a tree tent. And when you do that, you also have exclusive access to the rope park after the opening hours from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Afterwards, you'll get a really tasty barbecue that you don't have to grill yourself. So you just indulge, you sleep in the tree tent, and the next morning you can enjoy the sunrise, a nice breakfast, and then continue your journey.
Mm. A very unique experience that would be.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, there's certainly so much to do at Mount Pilatus. I mean, we haven't even looked at Krienzereg, where you mentioned there's a playground there, but with all those other activities, it's easily a full day excursion, isn't it?
Yes. So it always depends a bit on how many things you would like to do. So if you're coming for the views and for the golden round trip, you could complete that in about 5 hours, so in half a day. But of course, if you would like to do some of the hikes, have lunch on top of the mountain, stop at Fragmendeck for the activities, then I definitely recommend to save a full day on Pilatus or even stay overnight. I think that's definitely the best option to experience all activities that Pilatus has. And right behind me now, you can see the panorama gondolas, the second section of the cable car. So here we have small gondolas of 4 persons per gondola. So you have really a nice gondola for yourself to enjoy the views on the way down. And one product which I would like to highlight for winter, which we have brand new since this winter, is the champagne basket. So you can actually make a reservation for a champagne basket, which you can pick up at our station in Kriens. You'll get a basket with a bottle of champagne, some glasses, blankets, some nuts, and you have a even nicer ride to the top of the mountain. And this basket is only available in winter time, so from December to April.
Wonderful. Well, what a fantastic way to spend your cable car ride, sipping champagne and looking out at those amazing views.
Exactly. And if we look behind me, that's where we came from. That's the top of Pilatus.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that amazing tour of Mount Pilatus. I'm sure we've got everyone excited about visiting, and because they can do that every day except for 2 days in the year, there's no excuse not to come and visit, is there?
Yeah, so absolutely, there's something to do all year round. We've seen the summer activities, and if you're coming in winter, you could also try sledging or snowshoe walking, starting right here at Wrackmündeck, ending at Grenzereck. A really peaceful winter wonderland to enjoy. At the moment, it's spring, so we have winter on top of the mountain, but already a bit spring feelings down here. So if you want to get something of both worlds, spring is great to visit. Summer, you have the cogwheel train. Autumn, you have great cuisine, really great views in autumn. We talked about that on the last podcast. And of course, winter, the snow, the sledging, or any time of the year, the overnight stay. So absolutely, I can recommend to come to Pilatus whenever you are in Switzerland.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect all times of the year. Well, thank you so much again, Manuela. It's been wonderful to chat with you today. I will put a link in the description of the video here and on the podcast show notes for the previous podcast episode that you were on, so that people can go back and listen to that if they would like to. And to everyone watching and listening, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Holidays to Switzerland YouTube channel. We'll have a few more of these video interviews live on location coming up shortly. And you can also check out the Holidays to Switzerland podcast on all the popular podcast apps. So thanks again for tuning in.
Thank you.